got that time, you already know. Turn the speakers up, man, it's time to stop the show. Sean Tanner, Ryan Righteous, DJ Jeremiah. We bringing the heat, man, this joint be fire like, bruh. We in the field, we in the field, bruh. We in the field, we in the field. Just put it in work, we raising the bar. You tuned in to the track starts.
Yeah, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Make sure you go to trackstars.com for all the latest. We got a lot of cool stuff happening on Patreon.
Yeah, man.
Go to patreon.com/trackstarsuniverse. We just set up the Patreon camera. If you're at the right level of Patreon membership, you can actually see what happens behind the scenes during the breaks and all that fun stuff. So it's like you're actually in the room with us, like you actually came to Atlanta and sat.
Periscope 2.0.
Yeah. So Ryan could not be here with us today, but we have Levacy in the building.
What's
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank y'all for having me.
No problem. So she's going to be hanging out with us today. So, but we got a lot to talk about. And you're going to find out more about her as we go. First of all, how are you doing, sir?
I am good.
You weren't here last week. They were worried about you.
I was online, which was fun and action. You know, man, you forget your power is stripped through line for line when you're online with the people. He's like, I'm with the people. Like, I'm not with those people. I'm with y'all. I'm joking.
Yeah.
But no, it was good, man. Still getting over. It was kind of like a sinus thing, and then like going to the emergency room because my blood pressure was a little high and a lot of stuff. But God is good. I feel way better, and things are getting up there. So, yeah, man. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, okay. I always gotta get ready for these topics. Okay, so we've been hearing a lot of reports of witchcraft in the music industry.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into it today. So let's get straight to it. I'm gonna let you hear this I don't actually know who this is, but I'm gonna let you hear this young man give his take on it. Here we go.
Conspiracy theory that with every massive stadium tour going on right now, that there are a lot of demonic messages being unwillfully taken in by the huge crowds every night. At Beyonce's Stadium Renaissance World Tour, there's a scary interlude that takes fans by surprise that begins with a portal hypnosis, as if to control you and draw you in. Then it gets scary when messages like, whoever controls the media controls the mind, pop up on the screen. Then it's terrifying when mind control messages pop up on the screen in between placements of Beyonce's face and a picture of a human in a submissive, worshipy pose. Fans were saying they were getting so uncomfortable during this part they were looking away. Second, the known suspected Satanist The Weeknd was so shameless and blatantly for no
known
reason
suspected
Satan's name on the Jumbotron at his stadium concert. He's not even hiding his affinity for Satan at this point. It actually flashed twice. I'm making sure that you saw it. Fans and viewers often said they felt very uncomfortable at his whole run of his stadium tour because the thing just felt like one big demonic ritual that they were forced to be a part of. Lastly, there's literally a demonic chant screamed by all the fans at the Taylor Swift Eras Tour during her song Willow, and they all yell, "Summon the demons! Summon the demons! Summon the demons!" They do this as Taylor is literally dressed as a witch with her whole coven, and there's a ceremonial huge fire in the middle of the forest.
Wow. Okay.
Yikes.
So the question is, do you believe this? Do you believe it? I mean, it's happening, but do you believe it's significant? Again, this always comes to mind when we talk about these. Are they doing this on purpose to troll us, to get our attention, to get us to do videos like this, to get their numbers up? Because it worked for your girl. What's her name?
Girl.
The demon Doja Cat. I mean, she went number one.
Yeah.
So do they do it on purpose? Because it's dramatic. It gets Christians talking, and it gets their buzz going. Is that what's happening here, or are these people really entertaining satanic stuff?
Oh, I don't know, man. Part of me is like, some stuff is trolling, and then some part of me is like, this ain't trolling, bro. I think these people are in this stuff.
Right.
So I think that's where I am, man. Like, I think that's just like the trolling piece. And it's hard because I feel like some people, I think Ruslan talked about this with like the satanic marketing, where it's like kind of like with Lil Nas X and Doja Cat, is like just using shock value to say, using satanic stuff to shock you. You know what I mean? I think the most recent person of doing that of the early 2010s was Odd Future and Tyler the Creator with all that other stuff that they were doing. But I think the thing is, you don't know if they believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? You really don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes somebody could be like, that's working behind the scenes with Taylor Swift, could be like, Man, or even Beyonce. I mean, I don't know Beyonce, but
we're going to talk about Beyonce in this. I have another clip that you found. We're gonna add that to this discussion as well, because I'm asking it like a hypothetical, but we there may be actual real evidence. So we'll talk about it in a second.
So I just think it's just interesting, man. Because I think Ryan made me think the last time I was here, and he was like, "Are they trolling?" And I was like, "I don't think they're trolling." Because to me personally, I'm like, if you exposing people to something, then that's something you're down with, or something that you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or at least you don't have the fear and reverence for God. The way you should. Right?
Or don't care like I don't care. Maybe my fans need to know about this. And like kind of what we was talking about behind the scenes about New Ageism and like invoking that and not knowing what's behind New Ageism. You know what I mean? Because you're thinking it's just, I'm thinking to myself, hi, I'm this, I am that. And it's really like, you trying to become God, or you trying to everything about you and then worshiping God.
So Lee, what do you think? You've been around the music industry. Have you seen any of this? Do you think it's true? What do you think?
Yeah. So I first want to kind of touch on what you were just saying about New Ageism, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's a great kind of like bubbling thing that's happening that really I think is just shining a light on a lot of people's ignorance. Right, to a lot of this spiritual warfare, which is what it really is, right? And I think there's a big difference between ignorance and intention, right? Like those clips you just showed were intentional, right? And I know people who have gone to both the Renaissance Tour and Taylor Swift concerts and had it and were there for those experiences that were listed in that clip. And it's definitely, I think it's intentional, right?
But for why? But for what? Why are they doing that? Like, what is the purpose?
They need your energy. No, I just remember like years ago, I just remember Beyonce on stage and was like, she was somewhere, I don't know what it was, and it felt like she was weak, and she was like, give me your energy. You remember that clip?
But are we taking this literally? Like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I know there's spiritual things happening. I'm just wondering if in their own mind, are they intentionally doing this, or do they see it as a way to make money and a way to get attention?
Do you think it's hard for somebody to say, do you think God is so universal right now? So when people say God, I think Christians automatically deceive themselves in thinking they're talking about the God of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So I think as we serve God, you don't think people not serving the devil, but serving a god, a goddess, all this like New Ageism type stuff. You don't believe that. You think it's just a sham.
Let's see. I have another clip where a witch says that it is real. So let's check this out.
Oh, I am a witch. How do I for everybody?
Should I be scared?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, because they tell me Beyonce's a witch and like that. That we should be scared. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's an Ifa. So when she wears her yellow, that's Oshun.
Oh.
Riches and beauty and love and all of that, which I can see why she's connected to Oshun. It's another kind of tradition.
Okay.
Like a lot of people would think it's voodoo, but it's really Ifa. So it's like a lifestyle as opposed to a religion.
Because I always wonder why she always got on them flowers and she got on that elaborate. I'm like, can nobody buy your clothes? Your clothes look different.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
She probably gives her, so she has her own altar. She gives her food. She has parties for her. All of that. Just like.
Okay, so that was your favorite podcaster, Tasha K.
She in the news recently,
exposing
some stuff about Remy.
Interesting. So, so just allegedly on all of that. Well, no smoke. But what do you think? She's had a witch on her show that said Beyonce is a witch. Like, this is not honestly, a game.
I went to Tasha K's page, and because I originally saw that, and I sent it to you guys, and then I clicked on the person that was talking. She was like, yeah, I am a witch. And then her title thing, she's saying she's a witch. So if she's saying something like, yo, she's doing X, Y, Z, I don't know why it's this far-fetched, Sean. Like,
it's not far-fetched. I know it's demonic. I know it's bad. I'm just wondering what's happening in the people's minds. Are they really saying, I am worshiping Satan?
No,
like,
no. I think for some people, kind of like what the young lady was just saying a few minutes ago, they don't look at it as Satan. They're looking at it as another god.
Right. Another tradition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it's not like how am I saying it? It's not like I'm doing pentagrams and stuff. It's more like I'm praying to this African goddess or African god of a tribe, or I'm praying to, and some people may not even do that. They just may do New Age practices where it's like I'm meditating my chakras and all this other stuff, which is funny because Jesus is King was going to be on Kanye was on some type of stuff like that, on law of attraction, chakra, like before Jesus is King came out.
Gandhi, like what Gandhi?
Yandi.
Yeah.
Well, Yandi was going to be like, it was basically New Age, and then Jesus saved, and he did Jesus is King, but that, like, especially that the song Use This Gospel, the joint that was remixed by Eminem, but what the clips was on, was more like sounding law of attraction. That's what it was mostly about.
That's what I feel happens. Is more believable for me to believe that what's happening most is that people take Christianity and they mix it with New Age. That's what it feels like is the most logical thing, where they have like this, either they were in youth group when they were a kid or something, right? So they have the background knowledge of what the Bible says. Yeah. But along the way, through college, through experiences with other people, they picked up little things from other people and just mixed it together. Right? Now, I can't say that for the young lady who just said, I'm a witch. It's ridiculous. But I think most people fall into the camp of, I have some Christian in my brain, and then I have a bunch of other stuff in my brain, and I've just decided it all works.
Right. I would definitely agree with that. I think that there's a lot of people who like dabble more than anything, right? And I think what it really just speaks to is their kind of lostness in it, right? Because I think a large part of it is also because of what we've seen that witches look like, right? Like through the media, right? Like witches wear a hat and have like, they're green, and you know what I'm saying? So I think that like people don't want to believe that like something or someone who presents as beautiful or so talented could possibly be engaged in this type of spirituality. So I think that it's kind of a slippery slope, like you were saying, where people have, just like bits and pieces of a lot of different, spiritual traditions that ultimately they're just trying to find their way through. Yeah.
Did you think you being in like Broadway and performance, did you see stuff like this, or was it just like being in the industry? Because I remember we talked about it earlier, like stuff like that. Did you see stuff like this, or was it just like nonchalant? Some
stuff seen, some stuff felt.
Got you.
Right. And I think that more than anything, like when you are in the spirit, like, and when you are saved, right, even if you're not walking or and none of us can be perfect Christians, right? But even if you're trying to find your own way in your spiritual journey, I feel like when you are like covered in the blood of Jesus Christ, like there's no way that you can be just like completely blind to a lot of different things that go on in these spaces. So I would say, and I feel like with the specifically the mind control piece, right? Like there's power of life and death in the tongue, right? And mind control is like a very intense thing. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's messages kind of all around us.
With that, I've seen that phrase before. I don't know where she pulled that from. She always pulls things from a bunch of weird places, but I think I've seen that phrase before. And
the media controls the masses,
the mind, or
the
whatever.
mind.
And I think that's what I am, I fully believe that these people know that if they control people's minds, they can get them to do what they wouldn't have done in the past, right? Yeah. They know how powerful media is to get people to do what they want. So I really believe that. But I'm just curious, if that's true, why is she flaunting that on a stage? What is the purpose? That's why it feels like a troll to me. What is the purpose of advertising that this is what you're about? You see what I'm saying? She advertises the IFA thing. She advertises the mind control stuff.
But she still doesn't know. She doesn't.
But why flash it on your screen and behind you? Well, what are you doing that for?
Well, I think the thing is like I think we don't know what rituals are like to get stuff started. Like for us, if we looking from our perspective of church, like when you go to church, the ritual is praise and worship, then the word. Do you know why we do praise and worship before he preach? You know why?
Go ahead.
No, I'm just asking. I'm asking you. Do you know?
I don't.
Because I've always thought the reason why is that you get people in a place of admiration and thanking God, and like your heart is like, wow, God, thank you, and blah blah blah, and you're now in like
your heart is open to the word.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I think with certain people do rituals that your heart could be open to whatever they're trying to tell you or whatever they're trying to project to you. You get what I'm saying? So maybe that's a ritual. So when the concert officially
they
starts,
need music to get the message into the people. Got it. Yeah.
Of influence. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and that could be something like, and talking about Taylor Swift, I think the thing is, it's crazy to think. I guess people automatically always like, okay, Beyonce, we know what about that. But I think with Taylor is like, oh snap, is that true? Whatever, but. Bring on the Demons is kind of
so
that's a lot. That's
well,
a lot.
Again, that was the fans screaming that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they show she actually responded to it, and she was laughing about it. Like, like, oh, is this the new thing to yell now? Like, to me, so that's what highlights to me what the issue is. The real issue, deep down, beyond all the witches and all that stuff, it's just like there's just no fear of God.
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
They have no fear that this is actually powerful, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They have no fear that God can end all of this immediately.
But Sean, what if their God is saying, I'm more powerful than that God?
All right, we're going to find out.
Right.
Seriously.
I mean, man, that could be it.
But that just shows there's no fear.
Yeah.
Like the fear of God. The fear of God.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, You hear that and you're like, when I was a kid growing up hearing that, it's like, why should I be afraid of God? Why should I be afraid of God? But then now you see what it really means is the fact that these people are bucking up to God so boldly is scary.
Yeah.
You have no reverence for like King of Kings, Holy of Holies. You have no reverence that you're playing around with this nonsense.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And so that's the fear. If they're willing to do that, and then you show up and you support it.
Right.
I'm worried about y'all now. You see what I'm saying?
For real.
I'm worried about y'all because they have no fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's yours?
Yeah.
Where's your fear?
Yeah.
Do you not care either?
Yeah.
So that's why we talk about it.
I remember years ago, and I remember, I saw a documentary about a rock star saying this, and then Kanye saying this, that these people are the new pastors. The artists are the new pastors. So as much as, back in the day, you would go, whoever your favorite pastor is, T. Jakes, whoever, you follow their series and what they were preaching on, what they were giving you, the word they were giving you. And that's the exact same thing with artists. It's like, some of them songs better than scriptures. Some of the songs, you may use some of them songs as affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking over your life. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, I think we don't understand how emotionally attached we are to artists, especially if you go through something, especially if you go through a breakup, you go through, you go through some depression, you go through anything, and you hear a song that's helping you get out of depression. That's an attachment,
right?
You know what I mean? It's almost like a soul tie because you try to put it down, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
No, that's deep. Like a soul tie in a song or through a song or an artist, that's really deep. And I feel like, especially like when you are in the space with the artist, right? Like at a concert, like the energy at a concert, you almost leave on, like kind of with your energy, you're vibrating, you're buzzing with whatever you received from them, right? And ear and eye gates are real, right?
Yeah,
and then, and I forget where I see this, but maybe it was a reel or something where someone was talking about like, whoever you listen to, that song gets stuck in your head, right?
Yeah.
And it plays over and over in your head, even if you don't want it to, you can't control it, right?
Yeah.
So there is a spirit in that that like at some point is able to get control over you, right? If you don't get control over it. And so I feel like, especially in a concert space where you have these large gatherings of all of these souls, whether like, lost or found, right? It's like, I feel like, it's a perfect place for someone who does have an intention to kind of sow these seeds to encourage someone to maybe dabble right into whatever they believe in. So
if you're watching, you're like, man, tracks are crazy, man. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. All we're asking you to do is just ask yourself, like, is it really okay? Like, is it just all fun and games? Because I think that's how people kind of let it slide. It's like, oh, she's just performing. Oh, Doja Cat is just a film.
It's just art.
It's just art. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, are you sure?
I would say this: if you're watching us and you're a believer in Jesus Christ, and when you read the Word, you see the power of the Lord, but then you also see when he fasted and went into the wilderness, Satan offered him stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, and we have an enemy. Like, I'm confused by people be like,
that
we
part,
have an enemy that is like, we have an enemy, our flesh in the world that is like, I'm trying to get you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's seeking to devour you. Not just trying to get you, trying to destroy you.
So it's like we gotta stop thinking from a perspective like everything's a troll. Like some people is trolling, but some stuff is just like we gotta ask those deep questions. Like, okay, we know God exists, and we know Satan got kicked out of heaven. So it's like,
here's the thing: some people are trolling, but the devil ain't.
Yeah, he ain't. That's
so
good.
They could be playing around, but he not.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I'm asking. I'm like, are these people serious?
Yeah.
Are they playing around?
Yeah.
Because I know what's behind it ain't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm worried about for the artists.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't for play. This is serious.
Yeah.
Like, if this is true about Beyonce and this witch is telling the truth and she knows stuff we don't know, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing? That's scary. Now, we got to get out of here, and we'll come back and talk about this another time. But a lot of people will say, like, I was watching the clip from the Joe Budden podcast. Like, well, so what if she is? They could decide that. We've got a lot of comments like that. So what if she's, you know, our ancestors' religion is just as valid as yours or whatever? It's like, okay, you can do that if you want to, but I'm always going to come from perspective of Christianity.
Yeah.
So you could. I'm not saying you can't believe that and do that if you want, but I'm talking to people who know that it ain't right, and you're just playing around with it.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not for play.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back into it. You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
Producer trying to get music. Jeremiah.
All right, man, it's entertainment report time. Let's get it going. All right. So this week, another thing that's in time ready was Neuralink. Neuralink then the mark of the beast? Elon Musk's controversial biotechnology startup Neuralink opened up recruitment for its first human clinical trial on Tuesday. According to a company blog, after receiving approval from an independent review board, Neuralink is set to begin offering brain implants to patients as part of the PRIME study. The company said PRIME, short for Precise Robotic Implant Brain Computer Interface, is being carried out to evaluate both the safety and functionality of the implant. Trial patients will have a chip surgically placed in the part of their brain that controls the intention to move. The chip installed by a robot will then record and send brain signals to an app, with the initial goal being to grant people the ability to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone, the company wrote. So what do you guys think?
Nah.
Yeah.
Controlling the intention to move? Is that what you just said?
Oh, I think they mean you control something without touching it.
Nah.
But who's to say they can't do it in reverse? So
It's giving setup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about this earlier. So I remember watching Left Behind when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And always trying to wonder, like, what is the mark of the beast? What's it going to be? And I remember from way back then, the thought was always there's going to be something implanted in you.
Yeah.
It was never, I remember for a long time before technology was a big deal, people thought it was going to be a tattoo, right?
Yeah.
Actual mark, a tattoo, 666. But then as time went on, people always said there's going to be some chip. There's going to be a chip that you need to scan your hand to get payment. And that was before chips in hands were even like a thing.
Yeah.
Now it's happening.
It's a video. I should have gave y'all the video, but I should have gave you the video. It's a video of a young lady, and I said this online. It's a video of a young lady. She's at a convenience store, and she just did like this to her hand, and she was like, "View."
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
That's the Amazon. You could do that now with your hand.
Yeah.
You don't need a chip for that. It reads your palm.
Right.
Everybody has a unique palm.
Everything's getting too close, man. It's getting close to
Yeah.
it.
But here's my question. Is that really the mark of the beast? Are we being paranoid? Because what if the mark of the beast is something totally different? Are we afraid? Are we afraid of the wrong thing? Yeah. What if we're so afraid of this thing and it's something totally different?
What if this is the thing getting ready for that thing?
It could be, but that's what
Right,
you think
the
already. But what if we're so worried about this that it's something that we accept all the time?
Honestly, I felt like
lotion. What's lotion do? You know what I mean? What's deodorant do? Like you're soaking stuff in your body all the time, right? You don't know what it's doing.
But I feel like this is I felt like this was like RoboCop type thing, like when it's like, you ever seen the movie RoboCop where it was like half cyborg, half man and half cyborg?
Oh, I see.
So I felt like that's what that was trying to. And also, Elon Musk is not slick. He bought Twitter for a reason. I felt like he bought Twitter.
Is it whoever controls the media controls the mind?
No, but I think he did that. I think he did that to see human response. Mm-hmm. How does humans respond to this tragedy? How they respond to this situation? How they do this? How that's done? And I think he's using that. Probably going to use that against him. So, but do I think it's the mark of the beast? Anytime I hear about chip going in your body, I'm like, bro,
it's scary. It's definitely scary.
My thing is, I don't understand why people are so determined to not be like human. You know what I'm saying? Like, I say this all the time, right? Like people call themselves a god or a goddess, right? Now people are trying to become a computer. I just kind of don't get that. I'm good being a human. You can leave the chips in the vending machine on the computer. I'm good.
No, I think this is an advancement. You know how I think because man played God so much, is like this is an advancement of you becoming the ultimate human. If you get what I'm saying, like you're going, like right now, for some strange reason, some people don't want to die. Like some people are scared of death, so they're like, I don't want to die. I want to live forever. Even if I'm not here mentally, I want my brain to be some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like
San Junipero.
Yeah. So it's just interesting that that was a story this weekend. Man, we really in the end times, man. So get to know the Lord. All right. Another story this week. Glowvember is happening. Miles Minnick has been getting calls for Glowfest to come to different cities in the U.S. People want it to be a nationwide tour, but he's starting out in L.A. in November, now called Glowvember. It will be November 18th, 2023. Tickets are on sale now. He said L.A. bought half of the tickets for Glowfest in the Bay, so he's expecting it to sell out. So get your tickets today if you're in the Los Angeles or going to be in the Los Angeles area in that time. We haven't heard the lineup yet for Glowvember, but I'm sure it's going to be crazy. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. All right, man. Another big story of the week: Kirk Franklin documentary.
Oh, wow.
It hit 1 million in a couple of days.
Wow.
It's 1.5 now, I think, but it hit 1 million in 2-3 days, and people have been talking about it. So Kirk Franklin released the Father's Day, A Kirk Franklin Story, a documentary that shows the creative process he went through to create his 13th studio album. But while creating music for people to enjoy, the iconic gospel singer also discovered things he previously never thought he would. Well, when he was only 6, his biological mother introduced him to a man he thought was his real father.
Wait, are we spoiling this? You spoiling it?
I mean, he kind of tells you what the thing is.
Okay, all right. Have you seen this? Do you know what we're talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Okay. I have not seen it.
Oh, I mean...
So, go ahead and spoil it, man.
Okay.
It's all good.
For the next 50 years, Franklin thought he was the man who abandoned him and his mother. But in a recent documentary, he realizes that he couldn't be more wrong. A singer who was working with Franklin on his album approached him about a man she met at a funeral named Richard Hubert. He told her that he once dated Franklin's biological mother and that he lived in the same neighborhood that the Grammy Award-winning singer was raised in. The two took a paternity test and showed that it was a 99.9% match. So you see everything that deals with that. So very good one though.
Yeah, the hard thing to watch was his interaction with his mom. Because he's still very upset with her for
a lot of stuff.
Apparently, from his point of view, she's been lying to him for a long time, and she lied about who his real dad was. So when he confronted her about this, she still said no, it's not true. Even though they had 2 tests came out, 99% sure. She was like, it's not him. It's not him. And she wouldn't give him, he's like, please give me this. I need to know who my dad is. And she was like, no, it's not him. So that was just heartbreaking. That was a heartbreaking part. But I hope that they can reconcile at some point too, because he I don't know what's going on. I mean, we're hearing it from his side. How did you feel about him exposing all this in public?
I had mixed feelings. I understand this is something that you want to share with people. I get that part, and that you because you know your journey. If you know Kirk Franklin, you know the whole journey.
Right, yeah.
You know, if you know, I mean, he kind of documents it in the Rebirth album, like the intro right before Hosanna hits, and he's talking, and you hear the dialogue between his grandmother and the mother and him and all this other stuff. So you kind of know his background, so you know he's dealt with this issue all his life. I think the other side for me was like, if you would have shown this and you wasn't selling an album, then I would have been like, okay, I understand. But then also, I think that's the skepticism in me.
It's the promotion aspect of it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you never want to use somebody for a product situation.
Well, I was more so worried that with cameras being on, I guess he's so used to them, but with cameras being on, are you really experiencing this authentically?
Yeah.
Because even his reaction to finding out about his possible dad, it's like he was being himself, but I could tell like
it was an extra sauce.
No. I don't think he was putting on. I think he was holding back.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I think he would have been a little bit more unruly.
Oh yeah, he did catch himself.
Yeah, it was like whoever was with him was like. So what I'm worried about is, did you really get it all out?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
my only thing is, and I'll say this, and I don't know his relationship with his mother, but I know what it's like to lose a parent and don't get closure before they die. And you don't want that. Like, you don't want to be like, I know she ain't giving you the closure that you want, but at the same time, like, that's something, man. You can't get that back when you like you missing that parent and like it's not there to get back. So while she's here, if she doesn't want to give you that, I understand, but don't cut her off. Like, just don't like. That's me. That's me talking.
Again, I don't think it's gonna last forever, because you see in the same documentary, he reconciled with his son, which was good.
Oh yeah.
The son that got
put him on
trouble
blast
in the first place. That was good to see them together and having that was a real moment. You could tell that was a super real moment. So I imagine that's gonna happen with his mom at some point.
I pray it does, because I love to see people reconcile. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. All right, man. Unnecessary L of the week. Cancer for poker. All right, GoFundMe is putting a permanent kibosh on Rob Mercer, the World Series a poker player who lied on the platform about having cancer, took tens of thousands of dollars in donations, and then blew it in Vegas. Right. A spokesperson for GoFundMe told TMZ that those who chipped in for Rob's fundraiser earlier this year have been fully refunded, and he's been axed from using the site in the future.
Dang.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Called him on his bluff.
I know. I was like, normally he's poker for cancer, not cancer for poker. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, man. Comment section this week. The projects: Kanata, Small Bang, Cephas, The Resistance, Amar, Sprinter, Canola, Light Switch, Rick Rogers and K Diamond, Ricky Miyagi for Christ, Mike Real, St. Michael, Jordan Armstrong, OMM on my mind, Toy Love, Mission, Childlike CC, High Speed, Zay Hill, Be Faith, New Me, El Dijon, Me versus Me, Prody, The Prodigal, Expenses, Freedom, Chris, Big Breeze, Go Time, Verb Pro, 12 verse 4, Tight Line, Salt and Light. You can hear all these songs on our Milk playlist, the best in Christian hip-hop, gospel rap, and Christian rap. And then also our Feel Good playlist, the best in urban gospel, Christian R&B. Lee.
What's up?
You got anything you want to promote?
Yeah, so I actually just released my single last night. It's called My Bad.
Okay.
And it's pretty much just about, like sometimes you don't know if you have the right words to get back cool with God, but just hoping it's cool if you just say my bad and we can start all over.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So tell people a little bit about your journey. What's your history with music?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been performing for a long time. I really first started singing in the house with my siblings. They both have beautiful voices as well. And I started performing in musical theater productions. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina originally. And I grew up doing, local theater productions. My brother found an open call for The Lion King on Broadway.
Oh, wow.
That was actually going to be here in Atlanta. And so they drove me down to do it. I ended up booking it on the first time that I auditioned, which was amazing. And by 9 years old, I was in The Lion King on Broadway.
Wow.
And moved to New York City to do the show. Did it for a year and a half. And so I've been in entertainment for the vast majority of my life. And then through the years, just really trying to figure it out, right? Becoming a teenager in the space, and then a young adult, and then, just really trying to figure out what that transition would look like.
Yeah.
And so I really started getting into music and songwriting when I was 16, and I would come down to Atlanta for it. And I was in the secular space, right? And I was doing a lot of bilingual R&B, and ended up on American Idol.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, I'm like breezing through,
No,
but it's like years and
to
years of stuff. And so ended up on American Idol, moved back to Atlanta when I was 21, was really trying to figure out what it means to be like a young adult, moving through this, trying to figure out myself as a person, as an artist, songwriter, as a spiritual being as well. And so I just kind of ran into a really tough mental health place, right? And it just felt like nothing was flowing, right? Like things were happening, but nothing was flowing. And I was living in a lot of like just stress and turmoil and spiritual warfare, and didn't really have my grounding for real. And so then I went back home. I went back home to North Carolina. I thought that I was done with music. I thought that there was no way I would have peace in my life if I was doing anything in entertainment. And then God moved me back to Atlanta, and I was like, God, we doing this for real? You sure? And God was like, yeah. And when I was getting ready to move back, I said, God, what do you have for me? And then I said, that's a really selfish question. God, what do you need from me? God told me music, and figured out that I wanted to be in the Christian R&B space. Dope. So My Bad was my first single in 3 years.
Wow.
I'm really excited to be back.
Did you like see like when God was like music, you was like, for real, dude? Like,
yeah.
Like, we're going to do this again?
Right. Because I was like, nah, you was there. Like, you saw. Like, I was not. Like, I was struggling, right?
Yeah.
So God made it abundantly clear when I moved back, because everything just started flowing. And I was like, oh, it's flowing this time.
Yeah.
And God really put some really, really amazing people around me as well to really help me grow in my journey as a Christian, and really just get that grounding. So I had some questions, but God definitely had some answers. So
that's amazing.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did you think that, like, did you ever have in your mind about doing Christian R&B? Like, did you think it was a thing? Did you be like?
So I had in my mind to do Christian music, right? So when I was 12, we started going to an AME Zion church.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And we went to church off and on, my family and I, growing up. But really, when I was 12, God really started speaking to me and telling me, like, sing for me. And I was like,
I ain't trying to do the clap thing, Lord.
Right. Like, I was like, I don't really know, because I love gospel music, but I don't really think I have a gospel voice. And so I was like, I don't know how that's going to work out. So, so I went in the secular space. And that didn't really work out either, right? And so God exposed me to this amazing, really cool space of Christian R&B and all these different genres of Christian music, where I could really sing like me, you know what I'm saying,
awesome.
and sing for God. So there was an inkling, but I didn't know how it was going to work out.
Gotcha.
But
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so dope. We just added you to our Feel Good playlist,
Thank
Urban
you.
Gospel Christian R&B
Thank you.
stuff. So yeah, if you can follow that online, everybody who's talking and everything, you can check those out. You can hear the song there, My Bad, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So tell people how they can support you, where they can find you and your music.
Yes. So I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Lili Vasi, YouTube at Livasi. You can find my music on Spotify, YouTube Music, Tidal, everywhere. So yeah.
Dope.
Awesome. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. We got more to go.
Yeah.
You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
You guys know all about the official Trackstars universe. So if you'd like a free Trackstars t-shirt, yes, as well as free merch, discounts, and exclusive content, and of course, direct access to your favorite radio host, then this is for you. Make sure you go to trackstars.com/official. That's trackstars.com/official.
It's AI the anomaly, and you are in the field with the track stars.
Yeah, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Wright, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. Make sure you go to trackstars.com for all the latest. Join us on Patreon. Again, we just added a new camera. So if you're on Patreon, patreon.com/trackstarsuniverse. I think it's the top 2 levels can see what am I pointing over here? I moved it. It's right here, this angle right here. You can see all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So go check that out. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So we were talking. I can't remember what sparked this conversation, but
Wednesday night call?
Yeah. So we were talking on the Wednesday night call. And we were just wondering about, because we've been doing a lot of topics about, like Beyonce is doing this or witchcraft in the industry or calling out this person or that person. And, there's like a Christian YouTube circle like Ruslan, and I can't remember the other guy's name. There's a guy, Smart Christian something, and there's a bunch of like these Christians that kind of like
critique
call people
culture
out and that kind of thing. And we were wondering like, okay, how do we know if we're being John the Baptist, kind of like calling out in the wilderness to get people to turn away from their sins and come to the Lord, or if we're being Pharisees and just being legalistic Pharisees and this and that. So this is more about us. I'm just using all those people as an example because we're kind of in a similar space. But this is something we asked ourselves, like, are we doing the right thing here by, bringing up these controversies with these people? Our guy Pastor Jamal Bryant, it's kind of controversial to call out to call out stuff that's like that ain't really right. So how do you know if doing that is justified and righteous, or is it you're just kind of being like finger wagging Christian that you know what I'm saying? So we're using John the Baptist as a good example and Pharisees as a bad example.
I think the thing about John the Baptist knew that he seen what was going on and he was angry about what he saw, but I don't think he wanted to kill like Jezebel and her husband and all that. I think he wanted them to change. He wanted them to be like, yo, get to know Jesus, come to God. Like, y'all are wicked. Y'all need the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was on that level for him. I think the difference is the Pharisees were trying to almost look godly, but they weren't godly. And Jesus was calling them on their stuff. But they were calling people out, but they wouldn't get right.
Right.
So was that the only problem with the Pharisees, that was what they were saying right, but they were just wrong? Like if a right person said what they said, would it be okay?
No, I think what they were saying, I mean, in essence, what they were saying, I don't think was wrong, but I think the intent, and I think that's what we're dealing with here, is the intent. Like John the Baptist's intent was to get to people to get to know God and get to know the Lord.
Yeah.
The Pharisees' intent was almost
to
like
make themselves look better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's where what I was kind of had that conversation when I said, I was like, I feel like sometimes when I watch certain people, because I watch all types of different people online who create content that goes against the culture. Because to me, sometimes that's it's engaging and it's very educational. But then also I have to check my heart, because I remember one day Bizzle talked about that. He talking about itching ears, and he was like, sometimes people always think the itching ears situation is like prosperity gospel, and he was like, sometimes itching ears could be us. It could be that judgmental. You love that judgmental person, and you got to watch yourself for that too. So
Geno Jennings spirit.
Yeah, like you got those people calling stuff out because you like calling stuff out, but if somebody called you on your stuff, you know what I mean? That's you know what I mean? One thing,
Right.
What do you think about that?
So I feel like the motivation behind calling it out really matters, right? And I think that there are a lot of people who are coming from a place of judgment to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the main problem with the Pharisees as well. Like there was just a lot of like Also like a lot of rules I feel like that they were trying to enforce that didn't necessarily like align with like loving your neighbor, right? And so I feel like I feel like there's kind of like a thin line, right? Because it's like we are called to shed light and be witnesses, right? Like to the things that Jesus needs us to do or say or point out, but at the same time it's like what are you trying to gain something, you as a person? Are you trying to make yourself feel better about it? Or like you said with John, are you trying to lead people to Christ?
Yeah, I think all the people in our space, like we know, of course we know Ruslan. I don't really know the other, what's the young man, I can't remember his name, but he's really popular. I believe we're all doing it for the right reason. The reason it comes up to us in our mind is we just want to make sure we never switch to a bad reason.
Yeah.
Because you could start out having a good reason, but then again, you start getting them clicks, the YouTube checks start coming in, then you start being like, "Ooh, I gotta."
Right.
And once you find an audience for what you're doing, that's another thing, because I think people don't realize. Like you could be on you. It's almost like the Kevin Samuels thing. It's like how Kevin Samuels started off was with men, and he was like, I ain't getting nowhere with no men. So then he started talking to women.
Nick Jones, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, Nick
and,
Jones is doing really well.
And so when he started talking about women, that's when he said, "Oh, this works." You know what I mean? So if his intent was originally, let me help men become quote unquote high value men, but then in essence, like it's not working because men don't care what some man with glasses is talking about, you know what I mean? Versus what women think like, I got to prove to him I'm a 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And it's like.
So how do we make sure we, don't fall into the Pharisee thing where we're just trying to make ourselves look better? We're doing it for profit, which was another thing the Pharisees did. They were wealthy and they wanted to maintain their wealth. How do you make sure you don't slide from John the Baptist to Pharisee as a YouTube content talking head person? I think I got this from a message at my church. The pastor was talking about having how do you exercise righteous judgment. So I wrote some stuff down. So one was take the plank out your own eye. Make sure you are legit with you living right and everything. Correct people, brothers and sisters, in love. You know what I mean? But then also, I think this one is what is the fear for so many YouTubers is welcome correction from our brothers and sisters. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Right.
So you gotta, if you willing to dish it, you ready to give the medicine, you need to take that medicine too.
Yeah.
What does that look like though? Because I don't think that's a little uncomfy.
No, I think for me, it looks like your local church. Could somebody watch with your content and go, like, kind of, okay, prime example, what your pastor saw you talk about Kendrick was like, good job, Sean. You did a good job. Could your pastor come to you and see something we did? Could Pastor Bell say, or Damien be like,
watches,
yo, bro,
he watches
y'all
and he'll
wilding.
send me messages and stuff. Yeah.
Like they're doing too much.
But here's the thing though. I get what you're saying, but sometimes, and I'm not saying those people you mentioned aren't this way, but sometimes people are in churches where the success is a little bit more appealing than the rightness or wrongness of what they're saying.
I see what you mean.
So even their church members can get sucked into the success part of it.
Yeah.
And they won't call them out on nothing because they're like so impressed with how well they're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So you have to be careful with that. Just because your church isn't just because my pastor isn't calling up and saying, "Hey, Sean, I don't know about that," doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing okay.
Well, I mean, but then also you got to have people that can say, like with me, you and Ryan, you can say, Jeremiah, you wildin'. Ryan, you wildin'. I'm wildin'. You can say those things because we have an inner circle
we
in
built
us.
That culture.
You know what I'm saying? Or even on our call, like we got people on our team that could be like, yo, Jeremiah, you wildin'.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. That
and
sounds crazy. And we fight back and we have conversation.
But we got that from leadership.
Yeah.
That's what Pastor Bell, Damien, all those people, they built that into. Like, you ain't nobody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if we've been on stages in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
You don't get treated no different when you get off
Go
there.
get them chairs.
Yeah. Go pick up them chairs. Let's clean up. Everybody, let's go. You know, ain't nobody special in there. So.
And I think that's where we don't know where a lot of YouTubers, are they in a local church Do they have a small group to correct them? Because if you don't, then you're playing excellent. You're going from Pharisee to God.
Yeah, but okay. So and again, this is not critiquing on anybody. I'm with you guys, and I'm trying to figure this out. And I would love if any of them sees this to weigh in on how they do this, because not just for our benefit, but there's a lot of people who looking at Nick Jones and Ruslan and Track Stars and Smart Christian Channel, whatever, and they're like, I want to do that. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
You know? So I want us to figure out how, just give people a, how do you do it? How do you, because these people are getting very, very popular.
Yeah.
Like celebrity status popular,
yeah.
right? At least amongst a certain community, they're celebrities.
Yeah.
Almost like musicians are. There's some of these guys get more views and impressions than Lecrae and all of these people, right?
Yeah.
And this goes for Jackie too. She's one of those people.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you, when you're that popular as a Christian, how do you make sure you're not falling for the temptation of feeding content to the hungry masses? Like, oh, they love it when I get on so-and-so. They love it when I really hammer this topic.
That's why I think that's why I'm going back and saying two things, honestly. The first one should be the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit should check you on stuff when you are doing stuff. Like when you are writing something, kind of like when you write pieces, like spoken word or a rap, you'd be like, oh, I can't go that far. That's too much.
It's like, this would kill, but
I can't do that.
I can't.
Are you sensitive to the Holy Spirit? I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Are you sensitive to him checking you when you go, oh, okay, I'm about to go in on Kirk today. He did today, and you go, and the Holy Spirit like, don't go in on him. Yeah. Just pray for him now.
Are you doing it because you know it's going to work, or are you doing it because it needs to be said?
Yeah.
That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work.
Yeah. And you got to get, and people forget, you're going to have to give an account for what you put out too. Because and the sad part about it is, and we always say this, and I say this, and I think everybody here says this, is like, you got to have a church. We're not your pastors. None of these people are your pastors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need a church and a small group or people that can pour into your life to help you with this walk in Jesus Christ. We can. We don't know. We're grateful.
We don't know your situation.
We're grateful that you're part of the Track Stars universe. We're grateful that you watch us. We're grateful that we're here to help you walk this thing out. But at the same time, we're not your leadership.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to find a church to get under leadership so they can help you in your. We can't. You know what I'm saying?
YouTube personalities, including us, are not a substitute for a church. You have to be in a community.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of us, let's just be real, like, it took me a long time to start going back.
Yeah, it did.
Like, the COVID thing.
Yeah.
COVID thing, I got real comfortable at home.
Yeah.
Like, it was nice to just click on the thing and just watch
I
it.
still do. Still do.
Yeah.
But I mean, we go, but I still at home, but then we all have a small group that we go to.
But even
too.
if, like, let's say there's a real reason you have to be at home, you still got to check in, you know?
Yeah,
and that's
true.
what really got hard during COVID is you don't see people, you just don't see them. You don't think about them, you know?
Yeah.
So
out of sight, out of mind.
You have to have some sort of community that knows you and can tell when you're just being fake.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
And that's what we need. Everybody needs that. You need, that community to, you know what I mean? Even when the camera's off and you like, you need somebody to talk to because you're dealing with stuff yourself. Because this is heavy, man.
It's a lot.
When we deal with heavy topics, you go home drained. Like, this is not.
And you got to watch a lot of stuff. I didn't want to know about Sexy Red.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just get sent clips of nonsense, and it's like, so yeah. Pray. I'll say this: all of the guys I mentioned are doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing I'm seeing that feels wrong or anything. But just pray for us, man. Like, it's really difficult to like, a lot of people, they get sent a lot of crazy stuff. They have to process a lot of stuff. They're basically pastors without the actual title and
I don't think people know that. Like, I don't think you realize when you open up a YouTube channel and you start doing, and you know what I'm saying? And here's some things too. These could be reject pastors, Sean. People who are trying to be pastors and they weren't doing it right and got rejected.
Get rejected as a pastor.
Well,
what would have to happen?
No, but you lose your church. Maybe you were in a church and the people in the church wouldn't let you pastor because you wasn't doing. Yeah, so you just using the
none of the
voice.
people we mentioned are in that boat. But there's a lot of people I don't know about. So
Yeah,
maybe,
and that's what I'm saying. That it's some people that we don't know about that are like
killing it.
Yeah, so you don't you never know until you come across them because of kind of like us, like somebody a reference on the side. You like what, and you click it, and then you introduced to this new space.
Yeah. So the only reason we're bringing it up, and we'll end it here, I guess, is just be careful if you're gonna go into this space. You see a Ruslan, you see a Trackstar, you see an Alan Farr, you see all these people doing well, and you're like, I could do that. I feel like God is calling me to that, right? The warning is you can get very popular being the finger waggy Christian guy. You could get very popular doing that. People kind of are hungry for that content. So the warning is make sure you don't fall into the temptation to become a Pharisee while you're doing it. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Almost like a character.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a character of something that, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't think none of us are characters. We may say funny stuff here and there, but I think all of us,
like, this is who he is.
Yeah, like that's just it. So I just think that's something that people got to understand, man. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with doing a YouTube channel and, you know what I mean? Because once, and the sad part is, if something did come out about somebody that is the Pharisee, it's like, see?
Yeah. Have you seen any of these guys we're talking about?
Yes.
What's your take on it?
So the main thing that was coming up was how similar, right, the experience is for artists, right? Where it's like you're feeding the algorithm, and it's like, as people, I think we all like... We kind of need some validation, right? We want to know we did a good job. We want to know we're doing the right thing, you know? And so it's like, it's easy to just fall into the trap of like, oh, well, they like this, so I'm going to do that. And in addition to having the community of the church, I feel like what's really important for people being in any kind of like public space where your voice is heard is also like being able to really hear God's voice very clearly, because you hear so many other voices around you. And I feel like the best way for me that I've been able to do that is to read my Bible, from myself, right? Because you can go to church and you can hear, you know, the short passage that the pastor will give you in that moment, but you have to go back and get the context of it, right? So that you know, like, whatever's motivating you to like post this or say this, or, you know, it needs to be said. Well, why?
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that time to just read the Bible by yourself in quiet, to be able to really be able to decipher when you're hearing God's voice over any other, that's what gets you into the space of like actually being helpful, right? And useful in God's kingdom. Because it's easy, right? Like, you're like, oh, they like, you know, it's literally dopamine when people like something, and the algorithms feed controversy. They love controversy, right? So it's important to have that grounding mechanism.
And this is not like some sort of failure of any one person. That is how it works. Those comments, those likes make you feel good about yourself. The challenge then is to say, this is not meant for me.
Right.
All glory to God. Like, you have to do that every day. Like that's not something that, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you let that get to your heart. It's going to get to everybody's heart. Just know that and go through the process of saying, no matter how popular I get, no matter how well this does, it's not about me. God could take it away in a second. Especially on YouTube, you could lose your whole channel.
That's true.
In 2 seconds. So
start over.
Yeah, so that's the warning. And I would also say this: never feel like you got it. Yeah, that's another temptation, is for me to get on this mic and some question comes up and it's like, well, I know the answer to that, and let me tell you, you know. It's like, no, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've learned so far. You know, and I'll learn more tomorrow, and I'll tell you something different tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm just walking just like you, reading the Bible, trying to figure it out just like you. You never feel like you got it, like you the guru. You know what I mean?
You're right.
That's where you start to fail. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's get back into it. You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. All right, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Go to nectardistro.com if you're an artist and you need distribution. You're tired of all the options that are available right now. We have designed our own distribution platform. We have direct connection to major opportunities. We're in the same pool of, I get the same emails that CD Baby gets, that DistroKid gets, that Sony Music gets, that Reach Records gets. I get those same emails. So we have the same opportunities that major labels have. So join us, nectardistro.com. Build with us. We're growing. Have over 700 artists that have signed up over the years. So nectardistro.com. Sign up now. All right. Okay, so I don't even know how to actually approach this topic. So, are you familiar with Derek Jackson?
Yes.
Okay, Derek Jackson.
Yeah.
Derek Jackson was... I actually don't know much about him. I didn't watch him before this scandal happened, but apparently he was like the good guy, right? So you had the Kevin Samuels, y'all are trash, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then Derek Jackson was kind of like the encouraging one, like, women, kind of playing into what I assume women wanted to hear. He was that kind of guy. Then you find out that he was cheating on his wife. So his whole empire kind of crumbled.
Right.
So just recently, he was on a podcast kind of explaining why he started cheating. So I wanted y'all to hear it.
Aggressive energy towards a woman, except in intimacy. And so how I would express my affection oftentimes was aggressive. Like, I want to pick her up. Yeah. I don't just kiss her. I pin her up against the wall, put my hand around. I'm not trying to get graphic. Yeah. There's context here. So, come up behind her and hug on her, kind of aggressive. But that would make her really, really shut down. And I didn't know what was going on. I felt rejected, like, why you don't want to kiss me? My breast stink or something like that? So we would have, and not only was she shut down then, it would be tension. It would be almost hostile. So again, this wasn't until about a month and a half, 2 months in, where it was like, now it's back-to-back things. Now I come up on the kiss her, and she like kind of pushing away. She can't stay far enough away from me. She's kind of mean towards me. And it's kind of a flip side. And I didn't know part of what I was feeling didn't have nothing to do with the relationship. It was much deeper. But I remember like, man, my breath getting short. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I ain't never been so sensitive to rejection, because we all get rejected, but this is the first time I felt that. And what felt safer was to go out and at least have friendships with other girls. Just the conversation felt like receptiveness, like acceptance again. Mm-hmm. But those loose boundaries turned into no boundaries. So, if we continued to clash and she continued to pull away or what have you, and I'm not getting no answers or whatever, especially in my prideful state, I'm thinking, man, she got me effed up. So I'm over here doing the right thing, and she over here acting like I ain't nothing. So now there's a party tonight, or there's a girl on campus, and then she got her own dorm room. And that's when...
Right.
Jesus.
So that's basically saying that's what got him to start cheating. Now, I will give him this. This is the most real he sounded to me this whole time. He was telling the truth. Okay. What did you take away from his explanation for his hypocrisy in this podcast?
So it sounded like he was saying she wasn't giving what he wanted, so he had to go elsewhere. That's what it sounded like.
Right.
She didn't like it rough, so pause. But she didn't.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. So like she didn't like giving affection, or she didn't like the affection he was giving
because of her past.
Her past, because her past was she got raped. So it's like, dude, this seems too much.
Giving me flashbacks.
Yeah. So you didn't have enough respect to respect her wishes that you just dipped and tried it elsewhere. That's kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah. I definitely. It sounded like a lot of ego-driven behavior. Yeah. Right. Like in the least disrespect. No, I don't mean no disrespect, but it's giving like he mentioned words like, I never felt that rejected in my life, or to the point that he got mad because she didn't like what he wanted to do to her, even though she, it's like there was no kind of like collaboration, it sounded like, and how to express affection with one another. So it just sounded like it was all about what he needed, what he desired. So yeah, it's tough.
So there's this idea of the good guy narcissist. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where good guys go around claiming, man, I'm a good guy. Mm-hmm. But really what they mean is it needs to be all about me. Mm. Yeah. I deserve your attention. I deserve you to want to be with me. And that's kind of what I'm gleaning from a lot of this, is this sense of entitlement, like, because I'm such this great guy, I should get whatever I want out of you. Mm-hmm. And I wonder sometimes, we were talking, me and Ryan, it's like, did we have that attitude when we were single? We used to come on this show and complain like, oh, these girls, they overlooking us because, we're living for God, we're doing the right thing, and they overlooking us and this and that. Is that coming from the same place? Y'all still have that
Valentine's Day?
It's somewhere. It's somewhere. I might delete it before y'all go look for it.
That Valentine's Day, like pre Alfie and Toya, it was like it was Ryan's house, right?
It was in Ryan's house, yeah.
Just looking like
just complaining about
poor
girls.
guys.
Yeah. So was that coming from the same place of like we're doing all these right things and these girls overlooking us? That's what it feels familiar. So I'm like I'm wondering, did we have that same attitude?
Well, I think that the question is, what was your approach to women? Like, was your approach to about women dating women? Was it like you supposed to be with me because I'm the nice guy, not be with him?
No,
because it was almost like y'all piece. Remember the holla piece?
Yeah. Is this me? What did I say in that?
There's a part where you was like, I'm hoping he gay so she can be with me.
Okay, I was young. But yeah. So I'm wondering, I'm asking like that feeling that a lot of guys have, a lot of Christian guys have when they're growing up.
Yeah.
And they're trying to live right. They're trying to stay pure.
Yeah,
they're trying to do all the things you're supposed to do. And then girls would just look at them like they trash.
Well, I think the thing also too is you feel that way because you know who the women are picking. You know as a man because you are chilling with other men in your church and you hearing them talking and you like, oh, this dude ain't legit.
Yeah.
And you hearing them or you know about them and they pass or their reputation and you trying to talk to her small talk, but she's like looking at that guy and you like, really?
He's more exciting. He's more
more not flamboyant, but more like extra, what we call like flashy or whatever. You know what I mean? And not flashy like showing stuff off, but flashy like it's not flashy.
Conceited.
It's not conceited either. It's
like
more
extrovert.
It's like like he's out there like he could life of the party, make stuff happen, talk. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's us being jealous of that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you think about it, it's really jealousy.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like you're thinking, I'm trying to warn you from this guy.
Right.
I'm trying to warn you. You know what I mean? And I saw a clip recently of a woman saying, like, I messed up the nice guy. I wanted the nice guy, but I went with the guy who was very verbal abusive to me and everything. And then she was like, now I'm looking at the other guys that was trying to holler at me. Now they all married and she want a nice guy now. That's why. So when we had that conversation, I was like, are you saying that all nice guys were narcissists? Because I don't think every nice guy was.
Well, I want to lead. Am I crazy? This guy, would you say he's giving narcissist vibes?
I don't know this man, but given what I know of the situation, I would say yes.
So should I be worried that I was also given narcissist vibes when I was?
We got some previous clips.
Well, what I would say to that is like, if there's an inkling, maybe there is some like inner, work or like self-discovery that you might need to tap into, right? It's like none of us are perfect, and it's like I've definitely operated in like my narcissism for like periods of my life, and ruined my life, and made things more difficult for people around me, right? So I think that there's nothing wrong with like acknowledging like, hey, like I was wrong at this period in my life, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what you was on, but
I'm finding out
if
now.
you need to deep dive,
Well, I think narcissism at the end of the day is selfishness, and I think everybody has a little bit of selfishness to them, especially when you were single, because you feel like I'm the perfect candidate, or
It wasn't.
Well, not even you, but I'm just saying in general, men in general feel like especially if somebody attractive come into a room and everybody was like, all the dudes like, yo, I want to be with her because she's attractive. It's like, you know what I'm saying? But then also on the flip side, it was women that probably would tell other women, or women be like, hey, don't get with that girl. She but you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't listen to her because you wouldn't choose her because you was trying to get with a girl.
So I don't know Derek's backstory, so I'm kind of putting some stuff on him. He appears to me to be the kind of guy who maybe got overlooked when he was younger and smaller and didn't have like boulder arms and stuff. And then he did all this work to become like this ideal person. Now it's like I deserve it type thing. That's what I'm reading off of him.
Yeah.
So when I put myself back in that same spot, I never felt that way. I never felt like I deserve.
Yeah.
It was more so just like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing wrong? That it was like the opposite feeling.
So you had the woe was me.
Exactly. So is that wrong?
Woe was me.
I'm just trying to help the young men, because I hear this all the time. There's young Christian men out there that feel like this.
Yeah.
They feel like I deserve, but like, why not? Like, what's going on? What am I doing wrong?
I feel like there's nothing wrong with knowing your worth.
Yeah. No.
And I feel like the problem comes in with this thinking, though, when you start to become manipulative and you try to manipulate others around me, like, oh, I'm such a good guy. Like, I've been with people like that, you know what I'm saying, that damaged me, and then it creates a cycle in someone's life. And so that's definitely what he gives. And I feel like it's not incorrect to be like, I'm a good person, I deserve a good person. Like, you're correct, but I think again, it's like it might just not be the right time for you, right? You might still have things that you need to learn as as perfectly polished as you think you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe the person that God has for you isn't ready yet. And maybe it has nothing to do with you, right? And this is more about God using this time in your life to prepare you to be the best person that you could be with this person that he has for you.
Or also, and it's another thing, somebody's right there and you're ignoring them.
That's where I was going next. 'Cause we got a comment from a young lady on our video where Jackie Hill Perry was calling out toxic male podcasts, right? And she said, well, what about the guys who are the good guys, who are generally good, not narcissistic good, that overlook the young ladies that are the good girls in their lives, and they're chasing after these wild girls, right?
Yeah.
It happens both ways, right? So I'm just imagining a room where a young lady is like feeling overlooked and a young man is feeling overlooked,
like,
and they're looking past each other.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but you know what's so funny about that? What? Majority of the time, they'd be like, they ain't my type.
Yeah,
right.
That's the problem.
Right, because they're letting social media tell them who their type is.
Exactly.
Right, and it goes both ways.
Exactly.
So okay, even the good Christian guy might be valuing worldly things in women, and looking what is actually
so many men waiting
valuable about a woman.
Waiting for Megan Thee Stallion to get saved. Waiting for no, I'm serious. There's so many men that's like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Waiting for the bad girl to get saved too. Just as some nice women are like godly women are like, I want a thug. You know what I mean? Like it's the equivalent to that.
Yeah.
And it's like if y'all just turn around and talk to each other, you know what I mean. He may not be the thug that you want, but he may have something on there that you be like, oh, okay, I know he can check me when I'm out of line. I know he can do that. I'm just speaking for my wife. I was like, okay. I know she told me that before, so that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that to say, like, sometimes you think you judging a book by its cover when that book is not. You haven't read that book.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's real. That's good. So I want to give him credit though a little bit. Is what if he was that person and he's being honest now? So let's give him that. Like, how do you deal with what he actually dealt with? A man that feels rejected, and then they start looking outside for the validation that they need.
He need to go get some help.
Right.
Because if I'm mad, if I'm looking for if I'm dating women and I get rejected and then I try to be that player, that's wrong too.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is when you're committed to somebody and you got vows and stuff and I'm not making an excuse for him just dating people, but I'm saying when you have a wife, you got to look at your you got to look at her concerns too. It's like, why doesn't she like this type of aggression, sexual aggression I'm bringing to her, and ask her. And when she says, well, this happened to me and this is bringing a trigger for me, then you got to die to yourself and be like, okay, then my approach need to be different.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to still try to, you know what I mean? Maybe grabbing her a certain way makes her clam up because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like if you want someone to be a safe space for you, you also have to be a safe space for them.
Yeah.
Right? And you feeling rejected, like, okay, if you want to go elsewhere, break up with this person. Right? Like, I feel like cheating, when you are committed to someone, it's like, you know, don't go do it, you know, and then you create all these spaces of secrets, because then she's really not going to want to open up to you, right?
That's right.
Then she's really not going to, like, you know what I'm saying, right, the way you want to, you know, show affection to her, because she can feel that there's no longer this safe space here, right? So, you know, he ultimately just ended up digging a deeper hole with that, right? It's like, we get it, you feel rejected, we all feel rejected sometimes, but like, that's not how you heal that.
But this goes back to our last topic. He's doing all that while being like this public figure of being like this perfect man, of giving women advice on how they could find one like him when he's trash. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was putting on, like, have you seen his before this stuff videos? Weren't they like that?
I've heard of him, and I knew when women was like, I wish more men would be like Jackson,
that's what I kept
Kevin
hearing.
Samuels.
But it's like, no. he was trash.
Yeah.
He was trash.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
yeah. So the public light on you is almost. I don't know if he's a Christian. I don't know if he's ever said he was a Christian, right?
Who, Derrick Jackson?
Yeah.
I think that's what the thing was. Like
He was a Christian?
I think so.
Oh, because she was like the praying.
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot that part.
Yeah.
So he says he's a Christian.
Yeah, I don't think she would. The way she was, where his wife was, I don't think she would be with a non-Christian.
Interesting. So put that on it too. So he's in the public eye.
Yeah.
Kind of playing off of women's desire to have a godly man, a good godly man. He's presenting himself as, I am one of those guys.
I'm the Boaz.
Let me show you how to get one.
That's so wicked. That's
Yikes.
so wicked.
I mean, it goes back to the same thing. Like, you got to make sure you're not becoming a Pharisee. Like, that's literally what it is. You're saying things to make yourself look better and this and that. So have you seen any of his stuff since this? Is there any change?
I've never been a fan of his stuff like that. So I don't. I've heard about him. Literally, I heard about him from his when it first hit, when everything hit the fan about him and his wife.
And my sister said he turned to the Lord after all of this.
Oh, really? I can't. Camille, I can't say that. The way, and the reason I'm saying that is because his wife was sung she was sung.
Maybe she
so
was
gung ho,
maybe she was
missionary
praying.
Mary, you know?
Or maybe, but the way she was sounding was like a first lady, bro. She wasn't sounding like just a woman of God. She was sounding like a first lady. Like, I got my armor on. Y'all trying to attack my man. He a man of God. Like, I'm dead serious.
She was giving that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I
he
hope.
said, Camille said, watch the whole interview.
Okay.
Or maybe he was. Maybe it was. He got exposed and realized
he wasn't authentic.
I wasn't authentic. And,
because I will say he did sound like he sounded regular, like a regular person.
Now?
More so than he did in the past, where it sounded like a put on.
I got what you mean.
So I'm hoping that that's a turn
for
the better. You don't buy it?
But it still sounded like there was so much blame.
Oh, I see.
Her.
Behind his explanation.
We're missing the narcissism.
Right. It wasn't.
We're missing it.
It wasn't acknowledging his own,
his own mess,
selfishness, or lack of a desire to really understand his wife. It sounded more, I was so rejected, and it's like, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, we need to have more conversations between men and women, because I don't think guys always hear those things. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if women always hear what guys are really trying to say as well. So it's good for us to kind of talk things through, because leaving him out of it, because he might be a bad example. But I think a lot of guys and a lot of people in our chat, men and women, are genuinely trying to do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
So how do we get out of these cycles of, people who desire to be married, that there's so many young ladies we know that aren't married. They want to be married, but they can't find a godly person that's stepping up, right?
Yeah.
How do we fix all that? Like, so we may talk about it a little bit more, just to kind of get to the bottom of what's going on out there, because it feels like it's getting worse. It feels like this whole single Christian circle is getting worse.
I think what's happening, honestly, in the single Christian market is that it's too much. I would say this: it's too much influence. It's too much influence from the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like the world singles of the world are influencing Christian singles. That's what I feel like is happening.
That's true.
And I feel like what that's happening is making it hard for real Christian women to find a husband, and real Christian men finding a wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think those ideologies, because as much as we were talking about the toxic part for the men, it's some toxic stuff from females too.
Definitely.
So it's something that once you're in the culture, once you're more in the culture than the word, then
we got to figure out how to draw that culture back out of you, even if you don't see it. That's where we all need to work on. So hopefully we can help.
DC going in. She mad. She's like, women don't find a husband. Godly men find wives. You do. You absolutely do. Yeah, you're right.
She's tired of that phrase, women can't find a man. That's why everything is out of whack anyway.
You can't present yourself.
You know what? As a woman, right, I can say that I think that it has gotten really weird with like, there are some men who like want you to chase them.
Oh, got you, yeah.
And so, to my good sis' comment, I feel like that's real. I feel like that's kind of a culture thing that has infiltrated like the Christian dating space. And then it's also, I understand some men are like, oh, I don't want to come off as a creep, or I don't want to go too hard, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like this weird balance thing of people trying to figure out how to not be offensive either, right? Like in assuming, you know, a gender role in a situation, right? So I think there's a lot. It's really heavy and complex why there's so much difficulty in dating in this time.
I mean, I think
this is a hard subject.
I think the thing is, and this was me with my wife. I didn't know. And I was scared. Like, I was scared to approach her because you didn't want to feel that rejection. Men and
rejection is coming up over and over.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like you don't know how to. For some good guys, I would say this. For some good guys, they don't know how to talk to a woman in a way that they don't catch feelings.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They don't want to be inappropriate.
Yeah, inappropriate, catch feelings. And vice versa. It's probably some women like, I don't want this man to think I want him to be my husband. I just want to talk to him and see if that can go that way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to hear people's logic and theology before you decide to even go on a date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. So I think sometimes I think it's nervous, but then also I think we have to overcome rejection because it's nothing but fear. You know what I mean? We have to overcome those things to help ourselves, because if somebody rejects you, it's not that they hate you or dislike you. It's just, like you said, that's not the person for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we got to be okay with that too. I think that's another thing. Part of the good guy syndrome is like, well, if she don't like me, why don't she like me? It's something, you know what I mean? You got to be okay with somebody just saying you're not my type.
You either go into the how dare she attitude, or you do what I do and it's like, oh man, I'm terrible. Something wrong with me. That kind of thing.
And honestly, it's not both. It's just it may be God dodging, you may be dodging a bullet.
Right. That part. Come on.
You know what I mean? Vice versa too. And it may just be something where God is like, okay, I have somebody for you. It's not her, and don't hold nothing against her.
Right. Ooh. Yes.
That's
that part.
That's holding it against her.
Yeah.
Okay. We have several topics we just outlined here. If you have other things you want us to tackle in this world, because we've been married for a long time, so we've been kind of like, we've kind of had the attitude of, well, good luck.
Got in the car.
And not my problem. So we haven't really talked about it on here in a long time, but we used to talk about it every week. So yeah, we don't want to leave y'all hanging. So let us know what you want us to cover. Any topics out there that's really, really that maybe we're not aware of. Maybe things have changed so much that we just don't even know.
I mean,
how
I see
hard
it.
Is.
I mean, of course, because I see give Sean stuff and everything like that. We see it, and you see it in the culture. That's why I said I feel like there's a lot of the world influencing Christian singles that shouldn't be influenced, because you know what I'm saying, because I think that desire to be in a relationship, and you're hearing people talk about it, and maybe we need to find more people talking healthy relationship conversation.
Please leave comments, send us emails, whatever you want, to let us know what you want us to cover in this area or any area, but especially this one, so we know what is on singles' hearts, right? We're not there with you, but we can shed as much light from the married perspective as possible, so you don't fall for people who, a lot of the people I see that have podcasts talking about marriage are not married. So I'm like, how do you know? You know? So,
or divorce.
Exactly. So like we'll do our best to give you like what the truth of it is from our point of view, so you don't fall into these traps. So anyway, let's get back into it. You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
I'm in the field with track stars right now. I had a blessed time. Hopefully you guys are listening. If you're not, then you're losing.